Hey YouTube, it's Jonathan, and today I'm going to be filming a compare and contrast video on 3 foundations, all from the same family. A lot of you are probably familiar with the original Lancôme Teint Idole Ultra foundation, and now the family of Teint Idole Ultra has grown, and they also do a makeup stick, which is a cream to powder stick, and a liquid compact. So I'm going to be talking you through the differences and similarities between the 3 of them, and if you're interested, keep watching. So I've got all 3 formulas. I have all 3 in the shade 140N, by the way. So I'm going to show you the differences in the color and how they all look and apply onto my skin as I talk about each formula. So let's start off with the original. This is the Lancôme Teint Idole Ultra 24-hour makeup, and this is a liquid foundation. It's sort of thick when you pump it out, but as you apply it onto the skin, it just melts into the skin and goes on so thin. I can hardly feel this when I have it on my skin at all, and I think it looks super natural. You can really adjust the coverage on this foundation just depending on how you apply it. So I like to put a little bit onto my fingertips, dot it all over the skin, and then either blend in with a sponge or a flat kabuki brush. I think the flat kabuki brush gives me the most seamless, flawless coverage. I can really press this into the skin and then really blend out the edges. And this foundation on me wears all day. I've never worn it for actual 24 hours. I don't think I could ever let myself wear a foundation for that long, but I've definitely worn this foundation for a 16-hour day, and I didn't have any problems with it moving around or looking gross throughout the day. It held up pretty well. It claims to have a demi-matte finish, and I totally agree with that. It is more matte than I typically had been wearing in the past, but as my skin becomes more combination throughout the months, I'm actually loving that finish. I do use a hydrating primer underneath. This has been my primer of choice for the last few weeks. This is the Too Faced Hangover RX primer, and I've used this primer underneath all 3 of these, so when you see the clips of me putting them on, just know that I have that underneath. I also like to point out that this foundation, the original formula, comes in 35 shades in a few different undertones. There are neutrals, warms, and cools. Again, I wear shade 140 neutral, and there I think are 3 shades lighter than that, and I'm pretty fair, so I think that's nice that they have such a wide selection, and they do go ultra dark. And I know that Lupita Nyong'o is one of their spokeswomen, and she doesn't even wear the darkest shade in their foundation, and she has ultra dark skin. So I think it's amazing that they have such a wide selection, especially in this original formula, and it's great for so many different skin types except maybe ultra dry. So if you are oily, normal, or combination, I think that you could totally fall in love with this foundation. So next I'll talk about the Teint Idole Ultra Makeup Stick. This is probably the fastest application I have ever done. This I have loved for a few months now, and I love how quick and simple it is, and it's so portable, travel friendly, touch-up friendly. You literally just stripe it onto your skin and blend it in. Again, I'm using a flat top kabuki brush to blend this in. It's not quite as full coverage, I think, as the original foundation, but you can build this up to be full coverage. They also claim that you can use it as concealer, or you can buy other shades to use as highlight and contour, which I have not done with this product yet, but I'm interested in buying maybe a couple shades up to use as a contour or bronzer. And this product, again, it claims to have a natural matte finish, and I sort of think it finishes very similar to the original formula as well. It gives my skin like a matte luminosity, if that makes any sense. I don't feel cakey or powdery or dry, but I don't feel shiny either. It just looks like natural, real skin. I do find this one settles just a little bit more than the original, especially across the forehead and the smile line area for me, but that is a typical problem that I have with like 98% of foundations, so I don't think that is going to be a problem for most people. But just be aware of that if that is a problem for you. I just find it super ideal for day-to-day because it is so simple and quick. It takes me about 2 minutes to apply, and I think this one comes in 20 shades if I'm not mistaken, so not quite as many as the original, but still a good selection. And last but not least, we have the Teint Idole Ultra Cushion. This, again, shade 140, I match up across the board. The colors are slightly different. This dries a little bit lighter than the other 2, but I can just correct that with bronzer, and it doesn't bother me at all. So the biggest difference with this, again, is the application. It is a cushion. It comes with sort of a velvety little puff there, and the product is in. And it's not a sponge. It's actually more like fabric that has the product in it. I'm not entirely sure if any other brands are doing theirs like this, but I think this is probably the least messy cushion I've ever seen. I don't actually have really any product around the edges, so it is a very clean little cushion thing. I don't think necessarily the sponge idea is the cleanest, but I'm always applying my foundation right onto clean skin after primer, so I'm not that grossed out by it. The packaging on this one is probably the most beautiful. It has the black base and the gold top with the mirror inside. Stunning, beautiful for touching up. The only problem that I have with this one is it is SPF 50, which really isn't a problem, but I don't like to wear this in the evening, especially if I'm going to be having my picture taken or taking selfies or anything, because it does have a little bit of flashback. It's mostly physical, but there is a little bit of chemical sunscreen in there as well. The other two are chemical sunscreens also, so keep that in mind if you have sensitivities one way or the other. I think this one has the most coverage right off the bat, and it is the only one that has a scent. I'm pretty sure it's fragrance free, but there are some ingredients in here that give it a natural fragrance, I guess, and it just smells sort of clean. I don't notice it throughout the day on my face. I believe this foundation comes in the least amount of shades overall. I wanted to say there's about 14 or 15, and I believe they're going to do a shade extension next year. At least that's what I was told, so that's good that they're going to extend the range. But overall, I absolutely love this foundation. It is excellent for daytime when you want that full coverage, and I think it looks ultra natural on the skin as well, which is across the board. I think all of these three foundations look super natural on the skin. So that individually is the overview of them. I have a few more things to talk about all three, and that's price point. They are pretty expensive foundations. I believe these two are $47 and the stick is $42, so none of them are inexpensive, but I do think that the original bottle is the most value for money. You get a full ounce of product in here, whereas the cushion you get 0.45 ounce, so a little bit less than half an ounce. And with the stick foundation, I'm not sure of the exact number, but I want to say you get about 1/3 of an ounce, so it's the smallest of the three. But you can't go wrong if you are willing to spend the money for these. They are all beautiful on the skin. I think it's going to be all about your application preference. So if you like a traditional liquid, if you like the new cushion idea, or if you like the ease and quickness of applying the stick foundation. So all in all, I love all three. All three are great options. Again, it's just going to depend on what you like to do. If you're interested in learning more about these products, a link to all three and everything that I have on my face is going to be in the description box for you. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please click on my face now, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! I just blend the whole thing together and pop that onto all of the high points of my face, so pretty much anywhere that I would normally just